Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to the universe.
Guess I'm locked in. Looking for a piece of mind. I've been trying to redefine life. I can see the signs. Word is going to see me shine. Fighting for my soul, say, whipping fast, no brakes.
Peace and blessings, beautiful souls. I am Queen Ashe. What you assume becomes your reality. Not what you hope for, not what you wish for, but what you deeply believe is already yours. If you walk like you're chosen, speak like you're abundant, feel like it's already done. The universe has no choice but to align. Stop waiting. Stop doubting.
I started assuming everything was going to work out for me. Even if I ain't had no money, I was going to make money. Even if I didn't know how I was going to get something done or how something was going to happen, I just knew it was going to happen. No matter how, what, where, it don't matter. It was going to work out for me. I started assuming the best and stopped trying to focus on what could happen or the negative, y'all. I just started assuming everything is going to work in my favor. It didn't matter how it was going to get done. I just knew it was going to happen. I just knew that everything that I ever wanted was going to happen. And it has. It has not steered me wrong one time, okay? Even when things seem like they're complicated or seem like I may have went a little backwards or I may have lost something in the process, it was all a part of the divine plan. It was all a part of the process. Trust the process and know that everything is working out for you.
I watched a TikTok 5 years ago that changed my view on life, and I still think about it every single day. And I need you to hear this story because one time I opened up TikTok expecting to laugh, and I left bawling my eyes out because this woman changed my life. I can't find her, and I'm so sad, so if you do, please tag her. But I opened up my TikTok, and it was an old woman, and she said, I wend my life away. I decided that when I got married, I'd be happy. When I had kids, then I'd be happy. When my kids went off to college, then I'd be happy. When my kids have kids and I'm a grandparent, I will be happy. And she woke up one day. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I literally can't tell this story without crying. And she woke up one day and she was 80 years old. And she said, I went my whole life away. She went her whole life away. She kept saying, when this happens, I will be happy. And then she woke up and realized she spent her whole life doing that. And that video has never left my mind. And you realize that happiness is not a destination. Happiness is not something that you get when you hit a goal because you're always going to be on to the next one. Happiness is a feeling, is an emotion that you can feel right now. You can feel present in this moment right now, because the truth is you are never going to be happy no matter what goal you get, because you're always going to be looking forward to the next goal. And I know in this moment you are living at least one of the manifestations that you used to pray for. So don't stop going after your goals. Don't stop manifesting your dream life. Just remember that the time in between those goals is when life is happening. And follow me for more.
Ever since I quit my full-time job about a month ago to pursue my passions, I realized more and more that people are constantly trying to project their own limiting beliefs onto you and what you have going for your life. And case in point was just right now, I was watching this TikTok and this girl was like, oh, I'm quitting my job because it's essentially killing me. I'm a shell of a person. It's dark energy. It's toxic. And there was a comment at the top. It's like the most liked comment, just like, don't quit your job, stay, the job market is shit. And then I commented to that comment, that's your limiting belief, not hers. And then she responds back to me, girl, bye, I'm speaking from reality. That's the reality of the situation. And what I come to realize that, one, I'm the exception to the rule. So if the job market is bad for everyone else, it's good for me. And I come to realize that if you believe that to be true, that's your reality. So if you believe the job market is shit, and you can't get a job, then guess what? You're casting spells. The job market is shit and you can't find a job. But I believe that the job market is shit for everyone else but me. I'm the exception to the rule. And that has become my reality. And it's crazy how even being positive, people want to be reactive and try to prove you wrong or get an attitude with you for being positive. And I think it's because a lot of people don't realize that what you believe to be true is true. And that's getting into something else, but it's like people want to wallow in misery and negativity and bond over things being bad. Like, for example, if I say, in spite of what's going on in the world, I still want to travel. Like, oh girl, like, how are you going on vacation? How are you gonna hop on a plane with all the what's going on with the world? So when he's out of office, is that when I'm allowed to go on vacation? So I have to wait 3 more years to go on vacation? Life still happens in spite of these things. You can't not take a risk because everyone else is telling you not to, because they're scared to. And even when I quit my job, like, people are like, oh, why would you leave this job secure and benefits? I want more than what that job was offering me. And I'm doing better for myself because of it, because I bet on myself. So essentially, always bet on yourself in spite of what other people think. Because one, unless they're on the same wavelength as you, they're not going to be singing your praises. They're only thinking from a scared, fearful mindset where, oh, like, if I leave my job to pursue entrepreneurship, if I leave my job to, like, actually do things that inspire me, speak life into me, then I might fail, things won't work out. Well, that's going to be a reality if you think that's a reality. And it's kind of crazy how being positive and actually believing in yourself is looked down upon. Girl, I live in reality. I live in reality too. My reality is what I make it. And I'm realizing that you really can't tell people your plans for the future, because they'll try to stomp out any type of good that you have going for yourself. Even on the internet, like, why couldn't you just comment best of luck to you in your endeavors, instead of, oh, I wouldn't do that, the job market shit, good luck with that? Like, that's not what the girl was saying.
If you're someone that lives by and operates in the law of assumption, here's a hot tip that I need to share. As someone who has successfully manifested my schooling being paid for twice, the car that I have, the apartment that I'm in, the dog that I have, my health, my wellness, every job I've ever wanted, I got you. Once you start living life based on the law of assumption, which is essentially just, you want something, you get it. You don't have to worry about the how, you don't have to worry about the when, it's gonna happen. Once you start living in that though, you can't stop. Once you start questioning that process and questioning if it's gonna happen, that's when things start to not go your way. And this is something that I had to learn, because I get anxious, and I've also had people project their fears onto me, which increases my anxiety. And once that anxiety starts to bubble in your internal universe, that's when it makes it difficult for things to manifest in your life. Essentially, think it, want it, you'll have it. It's that easy.
I wish someone told me that the root of most of our overthinking and suffering comes from our demand of clarity in a world that was never designed to make sense. I think when we can let go with, this tug of war of negotiating with God, the universe, and just accept that two truths can't exist at once, that we stop demanding the world to behave to our expectations of how it should be, that's when true alignment, true abundance, and true freedom are finally allowed to flow into our lives.
I want you to know that if you don't like the behavior of certain people or how certain people are showing up in your life, you can change that without even having a conversation with them. I've been testing this, okay? I've been really testing it to make sure that this is real. And I've done this with 4 people in the past few weeks, and all 4 people who were, let's say, difficult in my past or in the old timeline, have shown up completely differently, okay? So instead of going into your 3D and just arguing with your 3D and trying to change your 3D by telling people that they need to be different, blah, 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 you're going to go back into your creative power in your 4D and your imagination, and you are going to change timelines to the version of them that you prefer. The first thing, however, is you have to check yourself and understand that if you want someone to show up differently, you have to stop the complaints. You have to stop seeing them as the version of the person that is pissing you off or is treating you poorly or is unpleasant, okay? You have to stop the complaints. You have to stop complaining about them to people, bitching about them in your head, getting into fights with them in your head or in person. And you have to be fully committed to seeing them in a different light and seeing yourself in a different light. So let me give you an example. Let's say someone is really challenging with you and, I don't know, nitpicky or something like that, okay? They are always kind of picking at you or something. Instead of getting irritated with them, you're going to go in your mind and you're going to, one, work on your self-concept, to view yourself as someone who is always loved, always respected, always treated so great. Everybody is so nice to you. Everybody respects you. Everybody values you. Everybody treats you so amazingly well. Then you're going to change the image that you have of this person and see them as somebody who is super kind, who always compliments you, who's really easy to be around, who's so nice to you, so loving to you, really respects you, has you on a pedestal. And you have to really be committed to seeing them as that version of them. Completely let go of all your complaints and your views of them as the old identity. Otherwise, you're just going to stay in that timeline. Just a reminder that you're not changing the person, right? You are changing the timeline that you're on and the version of them that is now on that timeline, which infinite versions of people exist. So you can just align yourself to the timeline of the version of them that you want. Like I said, I've been testing this with 4 people who are all very difficult in various ways to varying degrees on the old timeline. And I gave up my complaints of them and I just fully committed to them showing up as lovely, respectful, wonderful people who want the best for me, who are nice to me, and then worked on my self-concept as well. And all 4 people in a matter of weeks have completely shifted how they've shown up for me and how they treat me. So yeah, the problem is not to be fixed or changed in the 3D, in your reality that you see. It is to be changed in your 4D, in your imagination, in your creative power. Rewrite the script you have of them, also the script you have of yourself and what you're worthy of and how people treat you, and just watch what happens.
You can manifest anything you want, but you must first learn how to feel as though it has already happened. Now listen carefully. There is a simple phrase, so simple the mind often dismisses it, that contains within it the power to bring your desire into being. That phrase is, "Isn't it wonderful?" You do not say it hoping something will happen. You say it from the quiet, inward knowing that something has already happened, even though your senses deny it. When you say, "Isn't it wonderful?" you're not naming the thing. You're naming the feeling. And feeling is the secret. Do not ask yourself what happened. That would engage the reasoning mind, and reasoning always delays fulfillment. Simply rest in the mood of relief, the mood of gratitude, the mood of quiet satisfaction. As you fall asleep at night, or in a moment of stillness during the day, repeat gently within yourself, "Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful?" And allow a subtle smile to rise, not forced, not exaggerated, but natural, as though good news has already reached you. You will find that the body relaxes, the breath deepens, and the mind, no longer striving, yields. This is the state that creates. You are not trying to make anything happen. You are occupying the end. And when you occupy the end, the means arrange themselves automatically. The outer world has no choice but to follow the inner assumption. Do this without effort, without strain, without concern for how or when. For the moment you truly feel it to be wonderful, the seed is planted, and it must grow. And one day soon you will look back at the moment you whispered those words and realize it was wonderful, long before you ever saw it.
There is a reason why Michael Jackson didn't just feel talented. He didn't just feel great. He felt unworldly. He felt tapped in. He felt like he wasn't even from this universe. And that is because Michael Jackson understood it's about being a vessel. It's not necessarily about creating. It's about receiving, having a connection with the divine, repetition, reprogramming the subconscious mind. It's about embodiment. So allow me to show you the art of becoming the vessel. This is the system that turned Michael Jackson into the greatest musician the world will ever see. Before the studio, before the lights, before the world had access to his music, Michael first spoke to himself. He told himself he was capable of anything, that he was the greatest of all time, that he was beautiful, that he is in control of his own destiny, that there is no one else like him, not just once, but consistently. And of course, to the average mind, this just came off as egotistical, as, man, you have your head in the clouds. Man, you just think you're better than everyone else, huh? But to Michael, not only did he see it differently, but he understood it differently. But what Michael understood differently was it wasn't egotistical, it was rehearsal. It was anticipation. It was embodiment. He understood that the cheat code isn't waiting for the world to show you that you're the greatest of all time from having a hit album. He understood, if I feel it now, if I operate from the version of me who is the greatest of all time now, and I fully believe that and I am convicted in that, that is when I manifest my greatness. He understood that the subconscious mind can't distinguish from real and fake. It can't tell what hasn't happened yet, that it only accepts what is constantly repeated, felt, and embodied. So while the rest of society has been conditioned to seek approval and seek validation before owning their life, Michael simply gave himself all of the validation and all of the approval. While majority need reality to prove that they are great first, Michael simply started identifying as great. And it's because he understood that identity is the filter that everything passes through, including your manifestations. So of course, if you identify as not creative, you'll never create. If you need the followers first and the money first to feel confident about your work, to own who you are, to walk around with your chin up and your chest out, then of course the money and the followers are never going to come. But if you associate and identify as greatness, you will start moving like it, and life will start matching your new rhythm. It will start matching your flow. So that is step one. Become someone worth listening to from within. Secondly is Michael studied everything that kept him childlike, everything that inspired him, everything that set off that tick inside. It didn't matter if it was movies, cartoons, characters, people, energy. He was always watching. Like Picasso said, the good artists create where the best artists steal. And stealing does not mean copying. It means asking the questions, being curious. What about this makes me childlike? What about this makes me feel something? What is it about that thing that inspires me? And you find out what it is. You extract the feeling, you extract the data, and you rebuild it through your own lens. And ironically, that is how Thriller was born. Not from one idea, but from hundreds of inspirations merged into one expression. That is why it felt new, because it wasn't one source, it was life through Michael Jackson's lens. And lastly, Michael Jackson understood that in order to truly become the greatest of all time, he can't just consume. That in order to be guided by the divine, from the intuition, from the higher self, from God, the creator, whatever you believe in, you have to master disconnect. In order for him to receive the melodies, to receive the lyrics, to receive the next right step forward, he had to embrace no noise, no distractions, no constant input. He had to embrace stillness, solitude, silence, surrender. And my favorite Michael Jackson story that ended up being a scene in the movie is a moment where Michael and his brothers were all hanging out in the backyard. But his brothers, they were off to the side, messing with each other, talking, where Michael was just off in the pool, floating, not talking, humming melodies to himself, head in the clouds. And his brothers asked Michael, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm chilling. I'm waiting for the creator to give me a song, to give me the lyrics, the melodies." And he believed if he wasn't there to receive them, then he would give them to Prince. So think about that for a second. The greatest musician, the greatest performer, the most famous human being of all time didn't believe the ideas came from him. He believed they came through him. Whether it's God, your intuition, the creator, it doesn't matter. The principle is the same. Your mind is a signal, distraction is static, where stillness is clarity. It's access to the divine. It's access to receive things that the eyes can't see. So simply, the more noise you have, the weaker your signal. Where the calmer you are, the stronger your signal. Why do you think your best ideas hit you not when you're doom scrolling, but when you're out on a walk, when you're in the shower, when you're driving without music? Because your brain is calmer. Slower brain waves equal access to the divine. So quite simply, Michael Jackson understood that if he spoke life into himself every single day with undying conviction and embodiment, if he studied his inspirations, and most importantly, if he created space to access the divine, then receiving his greatness would be inevitable. So the real question is, are you tuning in enough to receive yours?
Assume it and watch everything change. Ashe.
Locked in. Guess I'm locked in.
Assume it and watch everything change. Ashe.
I'm locked in. Guess I'm locked in.